Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bremster, and today I'm coming to you with a puzzle by Florian Wortmann called Colorado 6. This is a puzzle I found on Logic Masters Germany, and it looked interesting to me, and I reached out to Florian to ask if he would mind if I would cover this puzzle. Haven't been doing a lot of reaching out to people recently. I've mostly been doing submissions because I just had some ideas that I wanted to do for a thumbnail. Sometimes weird things happen. And Florian I'd asked Florian basically what the title meant, and when he told me, it gave me a bit of a hint. So I will cover that when I start solving. Um, but so what I'm going to do is, yeah, I'm going to try this puzzle. Something I've discovered. But Florian has been really cool. So thanks, Florian, for giving me permission to do the puzzle. If you are interested in extra puzzle content, check out the playlists section of my channel where you can find the Race to 37, which is a series of killer puzzles that's going on. And also there's the Bremster Unpublished playlist, which will have me solving a bunch of my own puzzles. These may appear later on my own channel, but for now they are just buried in these playlists. Apart from that, let's have a look at the puzzle. So Colorado 6 by Florian Wortmann. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So in every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. Cells that are a king's move apart in chess may not contain the same digit. Basically, that means that any cell, you cannot place the same digit in any cell that touches it even diagonally. So while this cell and this cell could normally be, let's say, 5 by normal Sudoku rules, this would break king's move because a king can move to any adjacent square in chess. Basically, it just means no digits can touch themselves, be placed in a cell that is either orthogonally or diagonally adjacent. Normally, you could do something like this. In this puzzle, you cannot. Cells separated by an X must sum to 10. Cells separated by a 5 must sum to 5. Not all X's and V's are given, so it would be perfectly acceptable for these to sum to 5 or these to sum to 10, no problem. And digits in the grid represent skyscrapers of that height. Now, this is only going to be relevant in this row, so digits in this row represent skyscrapers of that height. Higher skyscrapers obscure smaller ones, and a clue outside the grid shows the number of visible skyscrapers in that row or column. Now, we've only got rows in this one, but what it means is so this will show how many you can see. So for example, if this was a 1 and this was a 6 and this was a 9, if I was to put this means this is a building of height 1, this is a building of height 6, and this is a building of height 9. Now, this would immediately be broken, because what this would mean is whatever no, actually it wouldn't be. I could put an 8 here, and this 6 would not be visible behind the 8, which means that the 1, you could see the 8-story building behind the 1-story building, and you could see the 9-story building behind the 8-story building, but the 6-story building is shorter than the 8-story building, so it's invisible. And if I put even a 7 in here, that would be fine. And I have to do that from both directions. So that's the way skyscrapers work. They can be a little bit tricky to wrap your head around the first few times you do them. I know I'm not great at them, so we will see how much I am dependent on them. So I do have a bit of a bit of a hint on this puzzle, but we'll see how that goes. Let's give this a shot. Links to solve it and everything are below. So, before I get into the trick, I am going to do what I do with every XV puzzle, and I am going to select all of the V's that I can find in the grid. I think that's all of them, and I'm going to mark those as low. And then I'm going to select oops, there's another one. Holy cow. And then I'm going to select all of the X's, whoops, not those ones, that are attached to V's. I'm going to mark those as high. Now, the trick that I was warned about is when I asked Florian about this puzzle, he said the name had to do with the fact that this is a colouring puzzle. And as you know, I have historically resisted colouring puzzles. Ooh, that's a 5. I have historically resisted colouring puzzles because I have trouble with too much colouring. But I'm going to once again try and use the letter tool to make that work. So how am I going to do that? Am I going to use this box? I might, because this has two V's in it. So I can potentially, if I go into the letter tool, I can make these A and B. Actually, I can actually specify them. So I can say this is A and this is B, this is C and this is D. This now can't be AB because it sees them. So this is CD because if it was AB, this would have no value. But this sees C. So this is D and this is C. These are AB. Therefore, these are both AB and these are both CD. These are now both CD because this cell sees AB, so this can't be AB. So this is CD, but this cell sees D. So this is C and this is D. This is AB because it sees C and D. This can't be CD, so this is AB. This can't be AB, so this is CD. And this is AB because it sees C and D. Can I do more than that? I must put a C on this. And it can't be, this can't be a low C because it sees the low C here. So this is a low C and this is a high digit. This can't be, this sees a 5 and 4 low digits. So these are both high. Actually, for colouring this, am I going to make 5s high? I think I might because I'm going to include 5 in high for colouring this because then I can do things like say that all of these cells are high. All of these cells are high, so that is low. And this has to be A or B because it sees CD. So this is AB, but it sees B. So this is A, this is B, this is A. Now, I still need to put C and D in here. One of them will be in, oh, this is going to be C because it sees A, B, and D. So this is absolutely going to be C, and it's going to be a low C and a high C. Sailing the high sea. Sorry. I can't put a low D here, so there has to be a low D along here. But I could put a low D here and a low B here, I think. Because I still need to put a low B in one of those. No, I can't put a low B there, and I can't put a low B. So there is a low B right there. That has to be a low B because it can't be in there, it can't be there, and it can't be here because these are C's. So this is actually a low B. So there is a low D in here somewhere. And it can't be there. This is a low D. No, this is a low D. Now this is a high cell. 5 is definitely in one of those two. I need to get out of the letter tool to do this. 5 is in one of those two. So 5 is up here. This is very strange. Maybe what I want to start doing now is go back into the letter tool and say this is a high C, this is a high B, this is a high A, this is a high D, this is a high A, this is a high B, this is a high C or D, this is a high A or B, this is a high A or B, high D, high C. Actually, that's not done as much as I might want. So these are high AB5. Kind of cool that I've got like the makeup of all of this, but I haven't quite been able to. So high D is in one of those two. Well, I've got three, so I can turn these into triples. So these are high and they are B, D, and 5. So this is B, D, 5, 5, B, D, and B and D. This can't be D because it's a king's move away from D. This can't be B. This is D. This can't be D. Oh, this can't be B either. This can't be B and this can't be B. So this is actually B. This is not 5. So this is not the 5. So this is actually the 5. And I've got the makeup of this. I don't know which way that goes though. But this is not B anymore. So neither of these are B. So this is not A. So this is not B. I've got to be careful about that. This is not A. Don't know about that. These are A, B, and C. So A, B, C go into those. That's not A. This is very strange. And as I said, this would have been originally a colouring puzzle, but there is no way I don't think I could have done this as a colouring puzzle. This is D now, because I've got A, B, C, and 5 in the highs. I can even fill out these triples, except that's going to be a problem because I've coloured things the same. So one of these is potentially a low C. Okay. So these is C, D, and 5. That can't be, whoops. That can't be D. Or C, that is 5. C's D, oh no, it could be a high C if that's a low C. Be careful about that. Be very, very careful. These are all high because I've got all the 4 lows in the row. And these are C, D, and 5. So C, D, and 5. A is in one of those two. High A is there. So I can't put high A there. I could never put high A in this row. So high A is here because high A can't go here because it would knock it out of those two, and it can't go there. So this here is a high A. Or I could have just looked at the row where this can't be a 5. This is the 5. So this is not the 5. This right here is the 5. This is now CD. These are 5 and B. 5 and B. But I can put B up here. So that's not... Wait a minute. This can't be a 5. This is B. So this is not the 5. This is... Sorry, doing this with the... Still getting used to doing this way. This is 5. So I'm getting a lot more 5s in the grid, which is kind of cool. Now, can I keep resolving? So I know this triple is A, C, D. Nope, I've got to be in the right mode. A, C, and D. Okay. High A in here. Hang on, why? Oh, high A must go down here because it's the only place in the row for it. High A is here. So high A is in one of those two and it can't go there. This is a high A. Oops, high A. This is also a high. And it's B, D, or 5. So it's B, D, or 5. So B is in one of those. This is 5 highs. These are all low. So that's all 4 lows in the top row. These are all high or 5. Well, 5 is included in high. Okay. So one of these is now low, and it's got to be C or D. This is very strange. I've got to put a B somewhere in here. There's a high B in here. This is a strange puzzle, isn't it? Or is it just me? Probably it's just me. But I'm finding solving these sorts of puzzles fascinating because I've had to avoid them for so long. So blue C has to go in one of those 2 cells. No, that is complete nonsense. It could go there. Blue C and D go in. Blue D is in one of those. How do I break? This is an A or a B. Okay, so I know this is A or B. Oh, this C looks up. This has not been C for ever. So I need to put blue D here because D, this is now a blue D. Whoops. Again, modes. Playing with all these extra modes is tricky. So these are 5B and D. Right, I can see something. But these are 5BD because C is not in this row. So C has to be in one of those cells. So this is not C. So C is in here. So this is D. And this is C. That takes D out of those. This is now D. It's not 5 because this is a 5BC triple. Sorry. Yeah, this is D. So I take 5 out of there. This is D, which takes D out of there. This is a 5C pair. D is in one of those 2. Ah, that can't be a high D. So this is actually a high D, and there is no high D here. This is a 5B pair. So high D is up here now. This is a high D because high modes. This is a high D because D has to go in one of those 2, but that cell sees that one. So that is a high D. Now this is C or 5. So C or 5. This is very strange. This is B or 5. 5 or B. Still need to put C in one of those 2 cells and D in one of those 2 cells. Because D can't go there and C can't go there. I bet there's more I'm missing with pairs, but I'm not used to scanning with letters. I'll get there. I will absolutely get there. So 5CB. So I also need to put C. So we know that D, low D is in here somewhere. This is B or C because it sees the other highs. And this is A, C, or 5. Where does D go in this top row? That's the only place for it. So these are not D. These are A and C. This could still be C high if that's C high. This is so tricky. This can't be C. Yeah, C is a. This can't. Oh, C could be here. I haven't even thought about the skyscrapers, but until I've got more info in this row, I don't see what I can do. So what I need to put a blue A or B in here. I need to put a blue A or B in here. So hang on, I've got this is high. Do I know what it is? It's not D. And it's not A. So it's 5B or C. So this is B, C, or 5. Hang on, A in this column. Can't go in any of those cells, can't go there, because that was the only place I could put D. This is A. This is not B or C. So this is now B. So this is now 5. And this is now C. Just do that. So this is now 5. So this is now B. And this is now C. No, what just happened? Don't do that to me. This is now C. Man, I hope I haven't got these wrong somehow while trying to figure out how to do the letter tool. That would be horrible. Now, this is now not 5 or C, so this is B. 5 is up here somewhere. Actually, I can't determine these triples yet. How am I not... I can determine that triple. But I know... I still... These are the triples I can determine, but I don't know which of these is high and which of these is low. So that... So this is where this colouring is killing me. So high B in this box can't go there, can't go in any of those. So that is not a 5. That is a B. So there's no 5 there. So this is not a B, this is a C. This is not a C. This is not a C. This is actually a 5. So this is actually an A. That might help me. No, this is actually an A. Yeah, I can do that. So this is an A. So this is now 5 and one of the two C's. So this is a 5C pair. This is a high C. This is a low C. This is a high C. So in here, I've got 5 and low C. And in here, I've got low D and high B. No, yeah, low D and high B. Low D and high B. So, this is A, B, and high C. This is A, B, and high A. How is this not resolved yet? Five and low C. And this is... Maybe I should have used different letters for high and low. But it's too late now. So I'm going to do that because I know the 5 is yellow. And this is high B and low D. It's done it again. BD, high, low. High B, low D. But they don't actually see each other by King's move. In here, I have A, B, C, and D. Useless. In here, I have 5. Low C or D. Yeah, it's 5 and low C or D. So this is CD and 5. Don't like the colouring here. Low C or D. Well, this can't be low D and this can't be low C. But I have to put one of low C or D in here. So it's low C here or... What? High A and high C go in those. But that... There's got to be something going on with that CD thing. Lower... Because low C has to go in one of those two. But this could be A, B, or D. It just can't be C. So these are A, B, C, D. This can't be C. Whatever goes in here can't go in either of those. But I don't... This could be C or D. It doesn't... And one of them... I can't see what's going on there. This can't be low D. So that's not D. I can't see what's going on there. One of these is 5, the rest are low. So all these A, B, C, Ds. And I've still got to put AB, one of them in here, one of them in here. And I've got to put a high C and a high A, but that just lines up with those. So how does this become resolvable? High B, low D, not seen by anything. Low C is not seen by anything. It's just a bunch of unresolvable X-wings. Isn't it? Oh, I am an idiot. That's not an A. That's a B. That's an A. Now I know that the low A is in here. The low B is in here. Has that done anything? Well, I know that this is low B, high C. So I can do BC. And this is low A and high A. So these are just A's. So that actually didn't do anything. What am I missing? That's a low A. That's a low B. That's a low A. That's a low A. That's a high A. That's a high A. Low A. Hang on. Low A. Low B. Low A. Low B. Low A. Low C or D. And that doesn't resolve anything. It's a high C that goes in there. So the fact that it sees that is meaningless. It's a low C that goes in there. So the fact that it goes in there is meaningless. High B doesn't see one. Low D doesn't see one. Oh, I've done it again. This is a D. So this is a D. This is a C. So there's no low D in here. This is a C. So there's no C in. What is going on? This letter tool does not do what I expect. This is now a 5. Sorry, everyone. This is actually tricky to me. So this is now the low D. This is the 5. This is an AB. This low D means this is now the high B. This is the low D. This is now the low C. And this is high because I'm calling it a 5. These... that's a high C, so that is a high A. This is a high C. This is now a low A. This is a high A. Now in here I've got a low B and a high C. This can't be a high C, so this is a low B, this is a high C. So this is a low B, this is a high C. That makes this a low A, this a low B. Sorry, in order to turn them off, I have the letter that it's not. This is a low A and this is a low B. Great. So I figured out the disposition of all the digits. How do I get it from here? Oh, it's got to be the skyscraper clues. So how do I use those? How long have I been going? 35 minutes. It's not too bad. I forgot to restart the puzzle at the start because I am not clever. So this is going to be lower than the 5. So I've already got 2 skyscrapers in this order. So I can only have 3. So if this was a 6, a 7, or an 8, wherever the 9 is would give me a 4th skyscraper. So yellow B has to be 9. So yellow B, I can select them all. I can go into number mode and make them all 9. I can then select all of blue B and make them 1. No, make them 1. I can then select all of blue A and make them 4. I can then select all of yellow A and make them 6. Well, there's half the grid done. How do I do the other ones? So I've got another 3 skyscraper clue. Well, these are never going to be seen because they are lower than this. So these digits are going to be 7 and 8. If this goes 8, 7, this clue would only be 2. This has to be 7, 8. So yellow C is 7. So yellow C becomes 7. So blue C becomes 3. So yellow or blue D becomes 2. And yellow D, by definition, has to be 8. And that is the solution to the puzzle. So I would have done that a lot faster if I'd remembered that these were in an X relationship with each other. I'm sorry, everyone. But I am trying to do colouring puzzles without doing colouring so that I can actually do them. So hopefully you found that one interesting. Pardon me. I put my medicine into my drink and because I need to stay hydrated. So just some Hydrolyte, but it makes me a bit burpy. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Florian, for giving me the warning. And hopefully you accepted that warning because I did it after I started solving. Yeah, that was very, very cool. I'm enjoying playing with the letter tool and trying to do puzzles that I couldn't do before. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the content in the extra playlists. I hope you're enjoying the Race to 37. Yeah, I just hope you're enjoying the channel. Please provide feedback. Let me know what you're enjoying, what you're not enjoying, what you think I could do. But yeah, just feel free. I really do enjoy reading what people have to say. Yeah, and as always, if you've got a puzzle you would like to submit or recommend, please let me know. My submission guidelines are posted below and in every video. Thanks everyone for watching, and as always, good luck with your solving.